I got every kind of audience out there. And when I yell, why do I get my mic turned down? I'm going to blow the speakers if I don't get it loud. Give me some volume. Now back it off, just below that whine. When I yell, I want to be heard. Because I only yell when there's an occasion for yelling. God's honor is at stake every night. This is not a show. It's a feast. A feast of the faithing experience. Now, it's not an accident we have an in culture. I got every kind of watcher out there.
I'm weary and tired. I just want to rest. My labor is o'er.
I want to rest.
My labor's o'er. Oh Lord, I'm going someday to that peaceful shore.
My labor is o'er and I'm going someday to that beautiful shore.
Where I'll die no more.
I'll die no more.
I know that soon I'll be going, no way of knowing when I shall cross Jordan's foam. I'll cross Jordan's foam. Lord, I know that soon I'll awaken under that starry dome. Beneath that starry dome. Ho, 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 Lord, I'm heading home. I'm heading home.
4.5 years in front of these cameras have taught me a lot of lessons, but one of them is that every time we have a great, exciting victory festival, the next one, inevitably it seems, will be tough. And we can't afford to have that happen tonight. But you that have been regular watchers, and there are thousands of you, some of whom have never missed a program in 4.5 years. Most of the media in the United States, the people are used to is, I kid them and say they worship the great God two sides. If they went down on the beach to report on the sun coming up, they'd add a line that there are some on the beach that say the sun didn't come up. And I've tried to figure out why I have no bland audience, it seems. Either people are for me or against me. And when I first came to town, everywhere I went, I was looked at like a freak, most of them against me. After a while, the tide has changed. But I take a stand on any issue that we're dealing with. I have the conviction, if you know your subject, you cannot avoid coming to a conclusion. So I think I polarize people. I take a stand, and whereas other people in media present two sides and leave you to make a choice, but the presenter's sort of neutral, I'm out there taking a stand, and I either end up with people saying, I've been waiting to hear that said, or wanting to go through the television screen and pound me on the nose. And there are some people that I think if Scott's for it, they're against it. That's a negative power if I wanted to misuse it. Just
how far
if I take a stand, I can guarantee and predict the reactions of some crowds.
Have you ever been threatened or...
Lots of times.
Can you describe an incident, one or two?
They decided in New England they would seize our property and tax us on the ground that we were not a church, we were a television station. Well, I barricaded myself inside the studio. We were inside the studio for 48 hours. It was rain and sleet. The street outside was blocked. Traffic couldn't go by. People were laying in the street. Their kids laying on the sidewalk. As the sheriff came to barricade or to seize the property, I had a communion table set up and said if he came in, he'd have to come through the door and over the communion table and over me to get in. Well, the sheriff couldn't get through the people. So to save face, they did a cowardly job. And the taxes were in the city of Hartford. They went 8-10 miles away to another city, seized our transmitter with one lone guy who has sugar diabetes. They were determined to somehow break me from walking them. And yeah, I had doors banged in, threats, had to be traveling around with a bodyguard. During those tax battles, it got pretty mean, and people would listen to a little segment and not hear the principle and would think I was anti-union or anti-gay or anti-this, and I became a target. And I'm on so late at night, the night people, it includes a lot of nuts as well as a lot of intelligent people, make me a target. I'm never alone for that reason.
We're here today to give our friends an idea of what our son was like when he was growing up. I want to say, first of all, that he has been the most wonderful son to his father and I that any parents could ever want. But one of the fellows on the staff here said to me, "We want you to tell us some nasty little thing he did." I'm going to. He was about 2 years old. I was frosting a chocolate cake, and that always got him when he could get chocolate cake. So he could barely tiptoe and reach the top of the drain board and stick his finger and go around and get the chocolate cake. So I slapped his hand, and he fell on the floor and began to scream and hold his breath till his face got blue. And I grabbed him up and whirled the cold water faucet open, and he wasn't long getting his breath. And he didn't have any more of those kind of fits during the time that he was growing up.
You know, while he was getting his PhD, doctor's degree in Stanford University, he would come home over the weekends and work with me in the church. I was pastor of the church up north, and all the time he was working with me, he was still battling against something that he had kind of lost, a certain faith, and then it was revived again, as you've heard him talk about his faith in the resurrection. I think he's proud of his dad, as his dad is proud of his son.
May I say one more thing? Our son is the kind of a person that the ordinary people can understand. Sometimes people educate themselves till they talk over the heads of most people. But our son is just down to earth. And my mind went back when my husband was thinking about when he was a teenager. My mind went back to when he was in the 7th grade. His teacher sent me a little note with a report card, and his report cards was all A's. And she sent me a little note saying, while he was yet in the 7th grade, do you know you have a genius for a son? That's what the teacher wrote me when he was in the 7th grade. So we're very proud of our son.
So I ask you to give me the dignity, the way the Macedonian Philippian Christians did Paul, of declaring in your own vote of confidence your trust in what I came here to do. And as long as I could walk face to face with the Lord, I don't mind accounting to you. You watch me every night. But I'd keep the government out of this church. Now I'm asking again for that vote of confidence tonight. I guess I'm the only pastor in the world that gets his votes weekly in checks. We're under fire. Newspapers writing lies. I've told you we'll be here till Jesus comes. And we will. I'm asking you to hang your body in faith tonight. And you are. 15 minutes went by. I have a message here that's a sample of dozens of them that's coming in. Dialing since Dr. Scott asked us to. Just got through after 5 minutes trying. We don't have enough phones for you tonight. When you finally got jarred into doing what we asked you to do. So I'm going to extend it. We're into the next hour. I'm going to give you another 10, 15 minutes to declare yourself for the next year. And it's still pouring in. Here's 360. Pledges for a year. We're opening the Gideon board. Here's 2,400, 540, 120, 1,200, 240, 180, 2,400, $600, $600, $3,600, $480, $3,600, $600, 240, 2,820, 600, 600, 3,600, 360, 250, 250, $3,000. On it goes. 2,000, 1,200, 2,100, 12,000, 6,000, 1,200. I haven't got time to read them. I want you to keep calling. The phones are jammed up again. Don't stop. We're going to play the Statesman again. $900, $3,600, $1,800, $1,200, $480, $1,200, $1,200, $2,220, $600, $600, $780, $1,200, $240, $120, $12,600, $1,224, $480, $1,200, $3,600.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for saving my soul. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for making me whole. Lord, oh Lord, I want to go to
We're approaching $250,000 in 36 minutes. Let's take it on up to 45 minutes, 10:30, and see if we can't take it over $250,000. Every one of you that are renewing your commitments this Saturday night, as we're here live and we reopen the Gideon Band. As I said, it could be $1 million night, but at least I want to see it go over the $250,000. Here's 3,600, 1,200. Wait a minute, Joe. Bring those back. Yeah. We've already crossed 250,000. So let's take it right on up to 300,000. Take it right on up to 300,000 in less than, well, in exactly 45 minutes. If you'll be faithful in the next 9 minutes, all it takes is another 50,000. Wow. Well, you've seen me on television. That occupies probably 30 hours a week live. I preach as any other pastor to my congregation on Sunday. I'm the elected president of a 2,000-member church denomination. I conduct quarterly board meetings with them, go to the annual conventions, preach their conventions, deal with my vice presidents, learn to delegate, and have good men who handle most of that. I pastor another church in Northern California. We have 9,400 supporting members in our church. I have to deal with the mail load. Most of us delegated. I have a lot of intern associates. But I am an elected pastor. My big concern is to make sure that when those members are in a hospital sick or have vital needs, they don't feel that they're neglected by their pastor. And I'm fortunate that my dad at 74 is still very active, and most of the people feel that if he's at the hospital, I'm represented because I get a quick report, and if they really need the pastor's attention, I try to get there. I run a mausoleum, which is a large corporation in Berkeley. This limousine is provided by that mausoleum, and my salary comes from the mausoleum. I run a publishing house in San Francisco. The publishing house does all of the in-house printing that we have. And it, in turn, all of these are owned by one of the two churches. I don't own anything. The publishing house owns a lot of subsidiary businesses, a real estate firm which is responsible for handling the properties owned by the church, a travel agency that's relatively inactive now but was purchased by the church at one time to give us control of teaching tours that I took of Bible lands every year.
If you want joy, come to Jesus. If you want pain, come to Him.
Oh, for the last 4.5 years. I'm doing a little less now, but I've done anywhere from 3 hours to 10 hours live daily. During the last year, I've been able on occasions to take Wednesday and Thursday off, but that's very recent. And as, for example, last week I was not able to do that. So I'm anywhere from 3 hours to 5-10 hours nonstop daily, except for Sunday. And I preach 2 separate live services, 2.5 hours on Sunday, plus sometimes a 3 to a 5-hour festival on Sunday. I'm in the celluloid world, Los Angeles. I probably have the largest audience of actors and people in the industry because they can't really believe that what they see is what is. To them, you act when you get in front of the cameras. I think one of the magazines locally summarized it. They said Scott's raw anger every night is refreshing, and I quote them. So you sit in front of the camera and say, here's another poor son of a bitch with all kinds of problems wrestling to survive, and they identify with it. I think that everything else they see on television creates the artificial environment in the home. The people see me wrestling with literal life and death issues for my organization and myself, surviving against the very same elements they have to survive against. Government oppression, misunderstanding, caricatured perceptual sets laid on you, and you're going through life trying to get the flack off of you. And I'm doing that in front of the cameras every night. I'd like to be let me tell you what makes me happy. Get me on a jet 8,000 miles to a city where nobody knows me. Yeah, I'd like to be able to go somewhere and just not have some life and death struggle. I am too good to be really bad and too bad to be really good. I don't enjoy being the good guy because I'd rather do some hellish things. I can't walk by a guy kicking a dog without getting out and kicking the guy who's kicking the dog. So that gets me into things like I'm in now. I can't let a church go down. But I don't enjoy fighting. And there are lots of people who think that I look for challenges. I don't look for challenges. The challenges grip me, and I've had a lifetime of being like a surgeon called in for impossible cases. Everybody written this church off. And my dream is to go somewhere where I can lay on a beach and read books and do my thing without having to live with perceptual set. I'm still running from what I had as a preacher's kid, having to be what people think I ought to be. And yeah, I dream of that. I dream of the debt being paid on this church and taking a vote of confidence and them voting me out so I can, with clean conscience, go to Australia and get a college professor's job where nobody knows me and teach about Plato and go out back and hunt rocks. Now that probably exaggerates it, but that's what I like. I just like to get away from this mess.
Would you like to have a private house, for example?
Yeah, very much.
Would you like to have children?
I can't. The greatest joy of my life, and I never talk about it in public, I'm so disgusted at religious organizations that show orphans to raise money. There was a time before I came here, I was supporting, through my ministry, 3 orphanages full time. I can't have kids. I'm sterile. I had the mumps when I was 19, and so I've adjusted to it all my life. I made up for it by orphan kids. You know, I picked up a sandwich dropped by one of the orphans in the orphanage that I was supporting and still do in part in Brazil. And all I did was pick up his bread, and he looked at me and said in Portuguese, you know, he's my daddy. I really love kids. Kids and dogs seem to like me, and as long as they do, I'm safe. I will not be defeated tonight. 5 phones are available. And 1 person has the key. Not one more word tonight till that 1,000 comes in.
Do you understand that God's work hangs on $600 miserable dollars? And you sit there glued to your chair. How long must I teach you the principles of spiritual warfare? 30,000 means nothing now. God is held to an open shame. While 22,400 pours in, $600 kills us. It has nothing to do with money at this point.
One person.
hanging on to a miserable $600. You think I'd blow over 30,000? But people who name the cause of Christ and sing I surrender all will let God for an hour hang over peanuts. What is this but a festival of faith? What is faith but hanging on the impossible? The network ought to be shut down, as Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed. If God can't find 4 people, what is Christianity? Game, gimmicks, words, massage, or life and death? I said it last night. You'd have to tie me down with ropes if we were so close to victory that something I had in my hand would give it. Yet carnal Christians, when it gets close to victory, will duck out. God brings it so close that those that couldn't give 1,000 could be the ones that bring it over. But you sit there glued to your chair. Husbands and wives, if I were married to either one of you, I'd get up and kick both of you. If you got somebody sleeping, go jump in the middle of their gut. This is war! We ought never to bog down. Come on, Joe, I won't hit you. We ought never to bog down. With 400 to go, why didn't you do it earlier? I don't care what Gene Scott looks like. God's honor's at stake. From a people that grab a hymn book and cherubically say, I'll go where you want me to go, as long as it doesn't cost me a few piddling dollars. 400, 100, 200, 100. Well over, after I yell at you. Why didn't you do it because you love God? Around. You say, I'll take it back, God will smite you if you do. You know you should have given it.
Dr. Scott, do you have any private property?
No, I have no. In fact, if you can find any property in the world that I own, except one thing, I'll give it to you. I have no land, no property, no stocks, no cash, no bank account, no home. I own nothing. Everything is owned by the church. They pay all my expenses. The church can vote me out. It's not some pseudo-corporation, and I'm a realist. I think they can. I often say I am restricted, and this evoked your curiosity, which is why it's here today. The only thing in this world that nobody can see, except me, is this black bag. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 zippers on it, and it's kind of become a joke. But my friends and relatives cannot even give me a birthday card without it being opened by someone else. I'm never alone. I have no privacy. This bag is mine.
Would you tell us what's in there?
No. I hope somebody thinks $10 million in gold bars is there for the simple dignity that there is something I don't have to go naked about. Maybe there's dirty socks. I hope when I die, if the government bureaucrats get to me, that they salivate themselves sick getting into this bag, because it's kind of a joke. I have no privacy except this black bag. It may be my memoirs, but my simple dignity of privacy is restricted to that bag. That's all I got. I don't own anything. I have no I have life insurance worth millions, payable to the churches, because I'm worth more to them. I often say, I'm worth enough to pay the bills, but in fact, I'm worth more dead than alive to them right now. I came with a unanimous vote to lead this church out of debt, but I'm the guy that goes to jail on most of the... Last February, in my refusal to turn over the private contributor lists of this church, I faced a certain trip to jail, like a news reporter who won't reveal his sources. And I'm 50 years old. I'm in good health. But yeah, I late at night want to quit sometimes. If you ask me if I'm 100% sure of my faith, no, I'm not. You know, as a philosopher, I know I can't prove I exist.
Do you cry? Are you a man who would be able to cry?
Yeah, I almost cried a minute ago when you asked me what I dream about. See, misunderstanding is the pain. Everybody thinks I'm a fighter. Man, I hate to fight. But push me and tread on a principle. I'm going to do it. I believe inwardly no man should be a boss who wants to boss. He'll abuse his authority. I don't want to be a boss. I'm having to boss. Yeah, I cry a lot of times. Maybe probably once a week. I cry it out. Most time alone. I don't think I'm a crybaby. But yeah, it bursts forth. And I suppose the thing I cry the most about is misunderstanding. I believe I'm the most honest guy on TV.
Yeah.
I believe that I don't deal in Jesus junk. I don't peddle lies. I tell Christians to be Christians. Yet I'm the guy being attacked.
Yeah.
That's what I cry about, is the inability to be taken at face value.
You seem to be very lonesome.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, you know, who can I have as a friend? You know, every friend is a potential enemy until this job is finished. I'm a loner. I don't know if I guess I'm lonesome sometimes, but I'm more of a loner, I guess, than lonesome. I have staff people that I enjoy being with, but I don't have any real close friends, no. Yeah, I'm lonesome. I already got it done. The part that counts. We're going to write. I can see them back there, clapping away, these bureaucratic monkeys. You hit them on the head, and all they do is squawk. I've made up my mind on the 30th. Look, we got this old bureaucratic monkey. We got one arm lame. He can't even hit his cymbals anymore. He is wacky. Hit a bureaucrat on the head. This is all he knows to do. Get the profile. He's good looking. Watch his eyes protrude. Look at that. We got him on the run, folks. He can't even... We got him on the run, folks. He can't even hit the other cymbal. I think we ought to give the FCC, and you notice no matter how they land, the right end is always pointed at the camera. Get him in the right position, he can hit the cymbal. I think we ought to give the FCC their dignified monkey salute tonight. They think they're going to stop us from an appeal by compressing us to 14 days. I want you to know, if it's 14 hours, we can still do it, and we'll win. And they better give them their monkey salute. The only thing they'll ever accomplish around here is make this kind of noise. Turn them all on. Give me some Monkey Farm, the FCC Monkey Band, Monkey Farm music. I'll fly away. Let them go. Look at them. Here's your bureaucrats. Wouldn't you like to grow up and be a bureaucrat if you're a kid watching? FCC Monkey Band. Get it back there on old Blabby back there. He's already talking to the press. That's our government for you.
people nothing. Watch this guy turn here. Mark of the beast 6 times. 1, watch it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Over he goes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Over he goes. Get the old talky one back there. Get him going. Get him on the head, Joe. Get him out front with his red pants and bang him on the floor like you did. Yeah, that's right. Get that one again. Hit him on the head and let him, turn him, bang his head on the floor. That's right. That's the only way to treat a bureaucrat. Hit him again.
I know a man, he's as rich as a king. Still, he won't give his poor neighbor a thing. His day will come, I'll make a bet. He might get to heaven, but here's what he'll get. A rusty old halo, skinny white cloud, second-hand wings full of patches. A rusty old halo, a skinny white cloud, robe so woolly it scratches.
Maybe you haven't heard about it, but there's a stranger in our town. Oh, yes, there's a stranger in our town. There's a stranger in our town, and he's given sight to the blind. Oh, yes, and he'll
Dr. Gene Scott presents the Festival of Faith. Not a lot of hoopy, just straight talk. Now, here's your host.
never seen